This series is proudly brought to you by Uniting Age Well, supporting seniors to remain healthy, active and connected. For care and support tailored just for you, contact Uniting Age Well today. This program is suitable for most people, however it should not replace a supervised exercise program. Please consult your local doctor before commencing an exercise program, especially if you have one or more of the following: have had joint surgery, any medical condition affecting your heart, lungs or blood pressure, joint inflammation, you have not been doing regular exercise. Stop exercising immediately if you experience one or more of the following: chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea, dizziness, numbness or tingling in the arms or legs, severe pain or discomfort in your joints. The producers and distributors disclaim any liability or loss, personal or otherwise, resulting from procedures in this program.
Welcome to this episode of Move It or Lose It. I'm Stephanie. I teach yoga and meditation. The theme for today's class is mobility through the spine. We'll begin this class using a chair, so find a comfortable chair that you can sit on, preferably no arms, and preferably sitting away from the back, so sitting up on your hips with a nice straight spine for the whole time that we're seated on the chair. Now, if you haven't practiced any yoga recently or it's relatively new to you, it's important that you really listen to your body and you only move to a point that's within your range of motion. So always be comfortable. It's okay to try to move into a stretch, and the stretch may feel quite intense, but we're always staying just inside what's comfortable for us in our body. You may have heard the saying, no pain, no gain. That's not applicable to yoga at all. We don't want to feel any pain. Yes, the sensation of muscles stretching can be quite intense sometimes. That's okay. It's very different to pain. And if you do feel pain in any of the poses that we do, always come out of the pose in the same way that you went in. Additionally, if you've been advised by your healthcare professionals not to do any specific types of movements, always listen to that advice before following any instructions that I'm giving you. Okay, let's get ready to do our first pose now. The first pose we'll be doing is called a simple seated twist. So we'll bring our hands to the side of your chair. We'll go to the left side first of all. Right hand across to the corner and the left hand coming to the back. Now lengthen through the spine as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, we'll just rotate the shoulders slightly around to the side. So make sure you keep your neck nice and soft. We don't want to be lengthening and trying to reach around and look behind us. It's a movement through the shoulders, definitely. So breath in, long spine, breath out, shoulders, moving into that twist just a little bit more. Use your breath, breathe in and breathe out. Try to lengthen each breath that you take and allow the shoulders to move around into the twist. Breathing, stretching. Stay for a few more moments. Lifting the chest with every breath in, keeping the neck relaxed as we've mentioned. Okay, as you breathe out next time, just relax your hands, relax your shoulders and come back to face the front. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Take a long breath here. And we'll get ready to repeat that movement on the other side. So moving to the right now. Bring your right hand to the back of the chair. Bring your left hand across the chest to the side of your chair. Breathing in, really lengthen through the whole spine. Feeling your chest lifting through the sternum particularly. As you breathe out, the shoulders move around. It's a stretch through the shoulders as we mentioned last time. Make sure you keep your neck soft. And again, using the breath. Long spine as you breathe in. Rotation through the upper chest and shoulders as you breathe out. Really important to keep our awareness in our neck so we're not creating any tension. We're soft through the neck the whole time. Length through the spine. And very gently the shoulders pressing out behind you. One more breath here. And we'll relax, release both of the hands. Bring the shoulders back to the front. Rest your hands on your thighs and just take a breath there. So the next pose that we'll be doing is called seated pelvic tilt. So we'll bring our hands to the front corners of our chair just to give us a little bit of stability there. So the arms will help to just guide what we're doing. So as you're breathing in, lift the chest and arch the lower back, so look up towards the sky. As you breathe out, exactly the opposite. So drop your head down, roll your spine out behind you. Breathing in, lifting up again. So we're thinking about the pelvis rolling backwards and then rolling forwards as you lift high. Rolling backwards, rolling forwards, lift high. So it's a soft movement. It doesn't need to be very hard, doesn't need to be very intense. We're just allowing some extra movement, some extra mobility through the whole spine. So the whole spine curls out behind you. As you go backwards, the whole spine reaches up and curls towards the front as your head comes up. As you lower backwards, chin to chest. As you breathe in, opening the chest and the shoulders. Breathing out, roll backwards. Breathing in, lift high. Keep going. Allowing everything to stretch. We'll do one more of each extension. And then come to a neutral spine in the middle. So now we'll be doing a forward bend, sitting on your mats or on the floor. You can sit on a blanket if you'd like to as well. We will be using our belts for this pose. So grab yourself a belt or a strap and we'll place that belt over the ball of your foot. We want the arms to be quite long. Reach as close to your feet as you can whilst still being comfortable. So your toes should be pressing towards the body. Your heels should be pressing away from the body. Your spine should be nice and long, nice and tall. You can drop your chin just a fraction to lengthen through the back of the neck as well. And take a long breath here. There are a few parts of the body that you might be feeling the stretch here. So we're stretching the posterior side of the body pretty much through the entire body. So your lower back, your upper back, through the back of the neck as well as the hamstrings and the calves. You may even feel a stretch through the underside of the feet as we're pressing the toes towards the body. There's a lot of good stretching happening, and realistically we're just kind of sitting down, sitting straight. So although it may look like we're not doing much, the opposite is actually true. Really focus on lengthening your spine each time you breathe in, and remember to keep the toes pressing towards the body and keep the heels pressing away from the body. It's amazing how often the feet tend to slack off when our attention isn't specifically there. So be mindful of that. Let's see now if because we've been in the pose for a few moments, if we can move our hands a little bit closer towards our feet. Now, if you're comfortable where you are, you're more than welcome to stay there. You might find that you just have a small amount more mobility now that we've stretched. Keeping the spine long, always keeping the shoulders back, thinking about the chest coming forward and the shoulders staying back. Keep your breathing smooth and steady. And we'll spend a few more moments here, allowing the muscles to stretch. Okay, as the next variation of this, we're going to let your back round, let yourself fold forwards and your head come down. If you can walk your hands closer, you're more than welcome to do that. If you're happy with your hands where they are, as we've said, you're welcome to stay there too. So now the back is round, folding, letting the body drop down to wherever it is comfortable. And we'll stay here for a few moments. We're still working with very gently pressing the heels away from the body, very gently pressing the toes towards the body. Okay, we'll begin to release out of this pose now. So let your hands slide backwards, lift your shoulders. You can drop your belts, lift your legs, and just give them a bit of a rub for a moment there if they need that. And we're going to take a few moments now to have a break, and we'll see you again soon.
Continue doing what you love with the help of Uniting Agewell. With 5 Agewell centres across Melbourne, our highly experienced health and exercise professionals design tailored wellbeing programs for older people using state-of-the-art exercise equipment and technology. Receive assistance with physiotherapy, occupational therapy, podiatry and exercise therapy, including yoga, tai chi, Pilates and stretch classes. Start your journey to wellness today. Contact Uniting Agewell to find out how.
Welcome back to this episode of Move It or Lose It. The next pose we'll be doing is called child's pose. So we're on the mats, on the floor, and we'll be beginning on our hands and knees in a tabletop position. Hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. Knees should be hip distance apart, and your feet will be straight out behind them. So now we're going to take the hips all the way backwards to the floor. Stretch your arms out and rest your head on the floor. If you're finding that your head doesn't naturally come down to the floor, you can place a block underneath your forehead, or you can make two little fists out of your hands and rest your forehead there as well. Another option is to have the hands flat, one on top of the other, and rest the forehead there. Allow your hips to rest down, to come towards the floor. If it's comfortable to have your arms extended, that's always a great way to stretch through the shoulders and to allow the upper back to really reach as you breathe. We'll take a few long breaths here. Remember, this is a resting pose, so although the stretch, particularly through the shoulders and arms, can feel quite intense, do allow yourself to rest, do allow yourself to breathe and relax. For the second part of this pose, we'll bring the hands together. Walk your hands together so that your thumbs are touching in the middle of your mat. Breathe into your shoulders. Now we'll walk our hands towards the right side of your mat. So walk your hands towards the right edge of your mat. Lengthen through your left arm and breathe into your left rib. So really stretching through the left side of the body. Take a long breath there. And we'll take a second long breath there. Now we'll walk our hands back to the middle of our mats, and then we'll walk all the way over to the left edge of the mat. Lengthen through the right side of the body. Keep your tailbone pressing towards your heels just gently as you breathe into the space that we're creating between the ribs. Each breath in, filling up the chest. And we'll begin to walk the hands back to the center. And we'll go over to the right side one more time. So walking over to the right. Finding that stretch through the left side of the body, through the ribs, really creating space through the upper back area. Breathe and stretch. Last breath here. And walking back to the center. And I'm sure, as you know, over to the left side. One last time. Long breaths. Breathing into those ribs, stretching, allowing everything to stretch out. Last breath on this side. And we'll come all the way back to the middle. Take your time, walk your hands. Come back to the center. Walk your hands away from the body as far as you can, just for a moment. The shoulder blades lifting off the spine as you take a big breath in. Now let's walk the hands towards the body. And we'll place the hands underneath the forehead or either side of your block if you're using a block. Let the shoulders be really soft here just for a moment. Long breath in and out. And then very gently we'll press up back to our seated position. We'll take a break there for a moment. We'll see you again in a few minutes. Welcome back to this episode of Move It or Lose It. We're going to move into a puppy dog pose now. So we're still on the floor on our mats, and we'll start from our tabletop position, so hands and knees. Hands on your mat. Your knees should be directly underneath your hips, feet flat. You can actually have your toes tucked under if you prefer in this pose as well. Go with what works best for you. You may need to have a block to rest your forehead on. We'll take our arms out as far as you can, comfortably reach forward, and then the other hand as well. Now it's important that we don't move our hips backwards here. We want the hips to stay exactly where they are. As you breathe in, look up and lower towards the floor. Rest your forehead on the mat or on your block. You can adjust your arms further out if you need to, and rest there. So this is a much bigger stretch on the upper back area through the arms and through the shoulders. The whole spine is long as it curls down towards the floor. Allow the space between each vertebrae. Let the back soften. And really use the breath in this pose to allow yourself to feel soft. Puppy dog pose is very much about releasing tension. But in order to release that tension, we need to allow the muscles to relax. It's very easy to hold on tight with the shoulders in this pose, which is exactly the opposite of what we want to do. Breathe, soften, relax. Use each breath to allow just a little bit more tension to release from the shoulders. Remember to stay where you're comfortable, allowing everything to stretch, making sure you're not feeling any pain. We'll take another few more long breaths here. Okay, we'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders and we'll press ourselves back up to our seated position. Now the next pose we're doing will be our breathing and meditation exercise. So just come to lie down on your mats. Now we'll come to our lying down position. Take a few moments to make sure you feel really comfortable on the mat underneath you. So make sure you don't have any clothes bunched up underneath your hips or your shoulders. Make sure your feet feel nice and flat. Allow your feet to drop down towards the outsides of your body. Shoulder blades should be tucked under. The palms of your hands are facing upwards towards the sky. Give yourselves a few moments to feel really still, really soft. We'll bring our focus now to our breathing. Take a long breath in. Really listen to that breath as it moves through the body, following the passage of air, moving through the chest, all the way down to the very lower abdominal area. Allowing the breath to move slowly, gently through the body, allowing yourself to feel restful, to be still. Just for a few moments out of the day, let everything go. Bring your focus to each breath that you're taking. Let everything else fade into the background. Each breath that you take really allows you to feel more still, more quiet, more relaxed. Let's begin now to wiggle our fingers and then wiggle our toes as well. Take a few big breaths into your chest and have a stretch in any way that feels good, whether that's lifting your hands or wiggling your shoulders. Let yourselves wake up. We'll lift our knees when you feel ready and roll yourselves over to the side, using your hands to lift yourselves back up to a seated position. Thank you very much for joining us today in this yoga episode. We'll really look forward to seeing you next time.
This series is proudly brought to you by Uniting Age Well, supporting seniors to remain healthy, active and connected. For care and support tailored just for you, contact Uniting Age Well today.